Burkina Faso's president, Captain Traoré, has once again rocked this continent to its foundation by revealing the corruption and cowardice that exist among so-called African leaders. In a daring and audacious move that has corrupt politicians around Africa shaking in their expensive loafers, this revolutionary lion delivered a staggering first batch of equipment under the Faso-Maybo presidential program this Thursday morning, March 28, 2025. And believe me, they ought to be ashamed, as Captain Traore is exposing them in ways they couldn't possibly avoid. Imagine this. More than 900 machines. You did indeed hear me correctly. 900. Delivered directly to the national coordinator of the presidential initiative of Faso-Maybo. Bulldozers poised to transform the terrain. 4 S4 pickup trucks ripping through the dust. Hydraulic excavators penetrating Burkina Faso's future. Captain Traoré has everything you need, including loader shovels, graders to smooth the way ahead, concrete mixers to churn out progress, crane trucks to raise the country, dump trucks to remove the debris of stagnation, tank trucks, tank transporters, workshop trucks, compactors, and mobile projectors. This is a declaration of war against underdevelopment, not merely a handover. Every African politician who has been sitting on their hands, counting stolen billions, while their people suffer in misery engulfed in potholes, has been given a thundering slap in the face. And because this isn't just a shoddy photo op gimmick, let's discuss money. Comrades, this initial group is only the first shot in a big acquisition phase that will cost an incredible $200 billion FCFA. For those who keep score in money, that comes to $239.2 million. Not that Captain Traoré is being modest. He stated it clearly. This is just the start. There will be more transformation, more investment, and more equipment soon. Standing tall like the visionary he is, he proclaimed, "This is the process of revolutionizing our infrastructure that has begun." The Faso-Maybo presidential initiative was established as a result of this. There is no reason why Burkina Faso cannot pave its roadways to connect its many localities, just as small, resource-poor nations have paved departmental highways. Which African president had the audacity to say such things? Who has the audacity to have such a lofty goal for their people rather than their own financial gain? Captain Traoré is supporting his statements with deeds rather than just platitudes. He is aware that a strong road network is necessary for the retaking of Burkina Faso's territory under the leadership of the valiant forces fighting terrorism. We need to build a lot more roads to support them, so they can do their mission with recklessness and boldness, he stated. There was a conviction in his voice that made you want to rise up and salute. And the military isn't the only factor. Passable roads are essential for the survival of producers, transporters, traders, and the average Burkinabe who works hard to earn a living. This dude understands. He isn't constructing roads for a ceremonial ribbon-cutting event. He is constructing them to free his people and rebuild a country that has been shattered by war and neglect. Let's dissect this more now, because this place is incredibly ambitious. Adopted by the Council of Ministers in October 2024, and based at Burkina Faso's National Office of Major Projects, the Faso-Maybo presidential initiative is more than just a hazy promise written on a napkin. It's a full-on mission to open up both rural and urban areas, constructing sustainable urban planning and paving roads to establish Burkina Faso as a symbol of progress. The national coordinator was blunt in his remarks. The goal is to be able to pave 3,000 to 5,000 kilometers of Burkina Faso roads annually. It's not a typo. 3,000 to 5,000 kilometers of asphalt that run the length of the country, linking towns and villages, farmers and marketplaces, and schools and youngsters. Captain Traoré has issued strict directives. Quickness and diligence. No excuses, no delays, just outcomes. My friends, this is what it means to be a leader: resolute, unrelenting, and unreservedly serving the people. This is where it gets interesting though, because Captain Traoré is not only battling poor roads, he is also confronting the avarice and self-centeredness that have afflicted Africa for far too long. He met with the locals last Thursday in Zinier and unloaded some truth bombs that had me nod so hard my neck almost broke. He disclosed that they had given contracts to contractors and business owners to construct these roads. It makes sense, doesn't it? Allow the private sector to flourish, generate employment, and disperse the riches. But you know what? These people were unable to organize themselves. In order for everyone to eat, the government instructed everyone to stop working on their machines, cooperate, and divide the rewards. Pan-African unity in action. Simple, equitable. However, these contractors asserted that they wanted it all for themselves. The ugly head of greed arose, and they don't agree or associate. Not even shaking my head will give it justice. I'm utterly repulsed. Captain Traoré remained unfazed. As plain as day, he called it out. Some Burkina Faso residents merely want to be at the top for themselves. He wouldn't have it though. No, he asserted, the state exists to provide equal opportunities in order to disperse wealth. What did he do when the contractors were unable to reach an agreement? He didn't bribe or plead with them. All right, he responded, rolling up his sleeves, the state will build the roads ourselves. You're pleased to be African when you have a backbone like that. The biggest losers in this situation are those self-centered contractors, who are left grasping their egos while the government steps in to provide for the needs of the populace. In any case, I would prefer that the state manage these capital expenditures. Roads are too important to be left to avaricious intermediaries who would rather take shortcuts than construct high-quality roads. This is where Captain Ibrahim Traoré becomes a complete embarrassment to the dishonest idiots posing as leaders throughout this continent. So let's zoom out and take a look at the wider picture. Captain Traoré is out here handing over 900 machines to start a road revolution while they are busy siphoning off public cash into Swiss bank accounts, sending private aircraft to Paris for meetings, and transferring our resources to foreign vultures. As they offer justifications for their nation's continued actual and symbolic entanglement, every year he paves between 3,000 and 5,000 kilometers. He is putting 200 billion FCFA of Burkina Faso's own perseverance and vision into the country's future as they shake hands with the IMF for another loan to clean up the mess they created. How can they not feel the heat of embarrassment rising up their necks, I ask you? Comrades, this is about more than Burkina Faso. It serves as a warning to all of Africa. By rejecting the neo-colonial narrative and writing their own, Captain Traoré is demonstrating to us what can happen when a leader prioritizes their people. And people everywhere, not just in Burkina Faso, are taking notice. People are rejoicing over this man, as if he were their own president everywhere from Lagos to Nairobi, Accra to Addis Ababa. Why? Since he is taking action that their leaders would not. While keeping his sights set on the goal, he is battling terrorism head-on, constructing infrastructure with a purpose, and spit in the face of corruption. I've witnessed the posts on X, the applause that reverberates across national boundaries, and the pride that rises in chests that have been crushed by decades of treachery. Not only is Captain Traoré a hero in Burkina Faso, a living, breathing rebuttal to all the presidents who have betrayed us, he is Africa's hope. Let's be honest. How many African leaders are able to look at this without feeling vulnerable? When the French or Chinese are being given mining rights, how many people can watch Captain Traoré hand over graders and bulldozers? Given that only their own families are becoming wealthy, how many people can listen to him about wealth distribution and fair opportunity without flinching? With the tenacity of a soldier and the zeal of a revolutionary, this 37-year-old guy is outperforming dinosaurs who have held positions of authority for decades. Although no one is flawless, he is undoubtedly setting a standard that has the corrupt elite in a panic. My message to those leaders is as follows. Examine Captain Ibrahim Traoré carefully. Watch as he embarrasses you without attempting to do so. Observe how you are creating excuses while he is creating highways. Observe how you're holding your people down while he's raising his. This is the hallmark of true leadership. None of your rambling speeches, manipulated elections, or offshore accounts. Africa is watching, and your games are becoming old. Everyone on the continent is talking about Captain Traoré. And it's time for you to either take the initiative or go on. Because if you don't, people may just do it for you after being inspired by examples like these. And let's continue to watch Burkina Faso, my fellow Africans. Let's spread the word, intensify this revolution, and hold our own leaders to the same standard. Road construction isn't all that Captain Traoré is doing. A new Africa is being forged by him. One where the weight of development crushes corruption. It's our time. Our struggle, our future. Let's support him in deeds as much as in words. More than just a project, the Faso-Maybo presidential initiative is a challenge, a rallying call, and a promise. Are we prepared to respond to it? I am aware of this. Out and over. I have something to say before I end, and I would appreciate it if you would let me say it so that I can feel content. It's time for us to have a heart-to-heart discussion about the essence of Africa, brothers and sisters of this vast continent. We've seen our so-called leaders drop their heads, hats in hand, and beg the West for scraps, while giving up the very riches of our country, our minerals, gold, uranium, and cobalt, for almost nothing for far too long. It's a disgrace, a betrayal of our forefathers who sacrificed their lives to secure our freedom, and a smack in the face to future generations who should be treated with dignity rather than dependence. Today, however, I present to you a tale of hope, a ray of light piercing the shadows of neo-colonial exploitation. Under the fearless and unreserved leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a young revolutionary who is demonstrating to us what can happen when an African leader has the guts to say enough is enough. That light emanates from Burkina Faso. This is a wake-up call, not just news, so allow me to build a picture for you. With the help of our own leaders, foreign powers have pillaged Africa, which has been the world's treasure trove for decades. Ghanaian gold, Sierra Leonean diamonds, Nigerian oil, and Zimbabwean lithium. They power everything from cell phones to electric cars, and they are the backbone of the world economy. But what do we receive in exchange? Pennies. While global firms earn billions of dollars, construct buildings in New York and London, and throw a few sparkling coins in our direction, and chuckle until you're exhausted. This is a modern-day slave trade, except instead of selling our bodies, our officials sign these agreements while grinning for the cameras and claiming it is foreign investment. However, something different is taking place in Burkina Faso. The 37-year-old soldier-turned-statesman Captain Ibrahim Traoré has assumed control of his country and said no more. He has been working to restore Burkina Faso's future ever since he took office in September 2022 and overthrew a government that was too friendly with the West. This isn't just chatter, I assure you. Action is what this is. Under his direction, Burkina Faso is no longer satisfied with exporting raw minerals to other countries for processing and financial gain. There, on Burkinabe territory, they are constructing refineries. Their own gold is being mined. Remember, 153 metric tons of reserves. And retaining the riches domestically. That's what Traoré has stated. You lose billions when you ship raw minerals elsewhere. He's correct, too. The figures are honest. Burkina Faso is converting peanuts into billions by processing their own resources and reinvesting the proceeds in roads, schools, clinics, and the battle against the long-running Islamist insurgency in the Sahel. I understand what some of you are thinking right now. He is only a member of the military. A coup brought him to power. What does he teach us? Just let me stop you there. This has nothing to do with his rise to power. It has to do with his use of it. Age is irrelevant. Titles are irrelevant. Results, bravery, and vision are what count. And there is no denying the outcomes in Burkina Faso. This country is evolving daily. Farmers are receiving assistance. The infrastructure is getting better. The populace is supporting a leader who does more than only discuss sovereignty. He lives it. Traoré is not pleading for conditional loans from the World Bank or the IMF. He is not the former colonial powerhouse France, which has been robbing Burkina Faso for many decades. Rather, he is establishing alliances with countries like Russia and Turkey on Burkina Faso's terms, not theirs, and constructing an economy that prioritizes the Burkinabe people. This is what Pan-Africanism looks like in practice, my friends. It's more than just a catchphrase or hashtag. It is a freedom blueprint. What do we observe, however, from far too many of our other leaders? Jealousy, pettiness. Rather than applauding Traoré's audacity, they murmur in private. Who does this young man think he is? He cannot teach us anything. He is not one of us. Among us, just who are we? As their people go hungry, the group of presidents and prime ministers who fly to Paris, London, and Washington to plead for help. While their nations are drowning in debt, the same officials who sell mining rights to foreign corporations for a little portion of their value then keep the kickbacks. It's time for a new us if that's who we are. A us that prioritizes Africa, as Traoré does. Since the mineral game is at the core of this craziness, let's take a moment to discuss it. 30% of the world's mineral deposits are in Africa. 30%. That includes rare earths, copper, platinum, gold, and everything else that the contemporary world depends on. We are the poorest continent, nevertheless. What sense does that have? Unless you include our leaders' betrayal, it doesn't. Because they have fallen into the myth that we are incapable of doing it ourselves. They export these resources to the West for low prices, uncooked and unprocessed. They remark, "Oh, we don't have the technology. We lack the necessary knowledge." Rubbish. Yesterday, there was no gold refinery in Burkina Faso. Today, however, they are constructing one. Why? Due to Traoré's faith in his people. He is empowering them, training them, and investing in them. What's stopping Nigeria, if a little landlocked country like Burkina Faso can achieve it? Why is South Africa not moving forward? What is preventing Algeria or Kenya? In actuality, the only thing preventing us is the lack of will on the part of our own leaders. They would sooner beg than construct. Instead of innovating, they would rather sell. And why? Since it's simpler. Because it maintains their colonial rulers' satisfaction, their authority, and the size of their Swiss bank accounts. However, it is killing us. The future of our children is being destroyed. A leader is never only selling gold or uranium when they negotiate an agreement to export raw materials at a discount. Captain Traoré understands that they are selling our freedom, our dignity, and our ability to stand strong in the world. He is not flawless. He's showing us a different route, but no leader is. The French military has been expelled by him, made Burkina Faso a symbol of resistance, and broke the neo-colonial shackle. He is a member of the Sahelian States Alliance with Mali and Niger, which declares that the three countries would unite and forge their own course. That route is also effective. The economy of Burkina Faso is changing. People are experiencing it. It is seen throughout Ouagadougou's streets. Hear it in the young people's voices when they recite his name. This isn't an anomaly. It's a revolution. And if our leaders would only open their eyes, all of Africa could join this movement. Why then aren't they? Why don't presidents and ministers follow Traoré's example, instead of going off to Western capitals to beg for aid? It's fear, they say. Fear of losing authority. Fear of disturbing world order. Laziness, according to others. They don't want to put forth the effort to create anything new. Indeed, some people are merely envious. They gaze upon this youthful captain. They can't stand that he's outperforming them, even if he's just in his late 30s. They laugh. He's a soldier. He has no idea what governance is. However, long UN speeches and elegant clothes are not the essence of administration. It's all about the outcomes. Furthermore, Traoré's accomplishments are more persuasive than any diplomat's hollow pledges. What if all African leaders learn from his example? Instead of sending gold to Switzerland, consider Ghana processing its own gold. Consider Congo refining its own cobalt, instead of selling it to the US or China for peanuts. Envision a continent where our wealth remains, develops, and expands. It's not a dream. There is a chance. The proof is coming from Burkina Faso. The best part is that we don't require approval from the West. We don't require their funds or technology. We possess the necessary resources. We're talented. We just need to have the guts to declare that this is ours, and that we will preserve it. I say this to the leaders who are grasping their begging. Put an end to your jealousy of Ibrahim Traoré. Don't ignore him because he's young or because he doesn't wear a suit. Instead, he wears a uniform. Take a lesson from him. Pay attention to his actions. Give him a call. He should come to your capitals. If you must, sit at his feet, since he is demonstrating to you how to free yourself from the bonds of dependency. He's not requesting your admiration. He is requesting that you take action. And go on if you're not going to do anything. Because Africans have had enough of waiting. We're fed up with seeing our wealth disappear on foreign ships as our hospitals run out of medicine and our schools collapse. This concerns all of us, not just Burkina Faso. We are one people, one continent, and one destiny, whether we are in Cairo, Cape Town, Dakar, or Djibouti. In addition to transforming Burkina Faso, Captain Traoré is igniting a fire that has the potential to sweep throughout Africa. But if our leaders continue to saturate it with their greed and cowardice, it won't spread. Time to make a decision. Do we continue to beg the West, sell our minerals at a discount, and claim that this is progress? Or do we rise, take charge, and create a future that is deserving of the sacrifices made by our forefathers? I go with the latter. I go the Traoré route. Africa that extracts its own gold, refines its own oil, and retains its own wealth is the one I choose. And I'm urging every person hearing my voice and every leader who reads this to make the same decision. Let's quit begging in our own homes. For a cup of soup, let's quit selling our birthright. Let's take a cue from Captain Ibrahim Traoré and Burkina Faso and work together to become the proud, independent continent that we were always destined to be. The days of making excuses are finished, brothers and sisters. Under Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the history of Burkina Faso is more than just the rebellion of a single country. It serves as a mirror for all African leaders and citizens, mirroring our potential if we had the courage to believe in ourselves. We've allowed the West to determine our value for far too long, taking their leftovers as they consume our minerals, our perspiration, and our future. However, Traoré has revealed the reality. Their handouts are not necessary for us. We don't require their consent. Everything we need to rise as a continent of giants, not beggars, is there under our feet and inside our hearts. Is Burkina Faso revolution, which turned raw gold into wealth and built refineries in defiance of neo-colonial chains, is a wake-up call for all of Africa. Stopping the cheap sale of our souls and beginning to leave a proud legacy is a difficult task. One guy or one nation are not at issue here. We're all involved. From the mountains of Ethiopia to the coasts of Senegal, from the Congolese jungles to Namibia's deserts, we are united by a common past and future. Our leaders need to get over their fear, their sloth, and their jealousy, and take inspiration from Traoré's bravery. Age is irrelevant. It makes no difference how he got to be in power. What's important is that he is prioritizing his people, something they were unable to accomplish. Imagine an Africa where all countries do the same, where our minerals support our own aspirations rather than the empires of others. We have to fight for that vision. Therefore, I urge you Africans to hold your leaders responsible, demand more, and refuse to inherit the begging bowl. And time is running out for those leaders. We're tired of waiting, so either join the revolution or leave. Together, let's reclaim our future, our money, and our dignity. In Burkina Faso, the spark is ignited. Let's now ignite hope across the continent. So Africa, rise. Let's get rid of dependency's stigma. Allow Burkina Faso to be seen as more than merely a country by all presidents and citizens, but emotion. Imagine our children inheriting factories instead of debt, pride instead of destitution. Our birthright was taken too long ago. We have to carry the torch that Traoré has kindled, until the entire continent sparkles as one, from Algiers to Pretoria. Here, the days of begging are over. Together, let's assert our might and create a narrative that is deserving of our great Africa. Tell us what you think in the comments section below. We explore the rich history, culture, and the ongoing struggle for sovereignty in Africa. Join us in this important conversation by subscribing to our channel. By subscribing, you're not just staying informed, you're becoming part of a movement dedicated to reclaiming Africa's rightful place on the global stage. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Let's work together to spread knowledge and inspire change. Thanks for watching.